Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King, and we'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational, religious, spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common, and that's the knowledge that there is a being, by no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Jehovah, Buddha, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. We know that there is indeed an almighty being. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed almighty. Today is March the 2nd, 2017. That's right, March the 2nd. 2 months of 2017 have passed. As I said, time looks like it goes faster and faster every year. But today is March the 2nd, 2017, and I remind you of that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because this show is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. You see the telephone number that's on your screen. I invite you to use that number. Call in. Join the discussion. Join the conversation. If there's something that God has done for you in your life, call in and share your testimony with the world. But before I get there, if there's something that's happening in your church, your mosque, your synagogue, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to share that information with the world, call in and share that information with the world. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to share that information with the world, call in and share it with the world. And as I started out saying, and I saved the best for last, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life, call in and share your testimony with the world. And I say miracle, and I don't use that word loosely. I'm very precise when I say that. I mean what I say, because the God that I'm here to tell you about works miracles. The God that I'm here to tell you about is working miracles even on March 2nd, 2017. So if God has worked a miracle in your life, call in and share your testimony with the world. You know, when I say miracle, it may have been something that happened in your life. It might have been some problems that you were trying to deal with, whether it was financial problems, health problems, relationship problems, some problem that you were trying to deal with. And you tried all of the regular ways, all of the known ways to deal with it. Maybe you had an addiction problem and you tried all different kind of 12-step programs, and those programs didn't work. Maybe it was a health problem and you tried all types of surgeries, all types of medications, all types of doctors, and none of that healed your body. And maybe when you had given up, God worked a miracle in your life and solved whatever problem that you were having. Worked a miracle in your life. Call in share your testimony with the world. There may be someone right now that's watching this show that's going through some similar problems, and they hear you with your testimony, how God worked a miracle in your life. That might be the one thing that they need to hear, that word of encouragement that will strengthen them and help them to hold on until things get better. So call in and share your testimony with the world. And I say share it with the world, that's right, because as I speak right now, this show is being seen not only here in the city of New Orleans, not only in the state of Louisiana, not only in the United States of America, but as I speak right now, this show is being beamed live around the world on the World Wide Web. You see that website that's on your screen right now, that web address, lock it in to your web browser. Lock it in. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can visit that website and watch previously recorded episodes of The Message. And no matter where you are in the world, even in Nice, France, you can visit that website on most Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central and watch The Message live and participate in the discussion live. I also invite you to lock in our main website. And our main website is www.godisalmighty.org, www.godisalmighty.org. Lock that one into your browser. When you go to our main website, you can go watch this show live. You can go to all of our other, there are links to all of our other social media outlets. So lock our main website into your web browser. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook, good evening. I'm glad that you can join us, and send a comment, and even if it's no more than just to say hello, write a comment so we can share that with our viewers, and that if you have a particular issue that you want to bring up during the discussion tonight, write a comment or call in. All right, we, as I say, today is the second day of March 2017. We're going to go straight into our announcements. Our religious spiritual study, we'll have that a little bit later on. Words of inspiration tonight will come out of the book of Genesis, chapter 43, verses 8 through 26. Announcements. Brother Chris's prayer line. Brother Chris's prayer line is closed now, but I talked to Brother Chris earlier. He will reopen on March the 8th. So right now, Brother Chris's prayer line is closed down, but he will reopen on March the 8th. And Brother Chris is asking us to pray with him and to pray for him. So I want to make sure that I delivered that message, that please join me in praying for Brother Chris. Our prayers also go out to Minister Antoine Brown. Minister Brown has been having some health issues that he's been dealing with lately. And I want to make sure that all of us pray for him. And I think he may have had surgery this past week. So, if all of you keep Minister Brown, Minister Antoine Brown, keep him in your prayers. All right. Let's see. As I said earlier, that's our main website that you see on the screen now. That's www.godisalmighty.org. When you visit that main website, there are links to all of our social media outlets, our religious discussion blog, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And for those of you that are watching by Facebook, let me share with you that we are constantly working on that, working to improve that experience. We're making strides every week. And hopefully we'll have even some more developments next week. Minister Antoine Brown's prayer line, that number is 225-397-4964. It's free. So if you ever feel that you need to have someone to pray with you, give Minister Brown a call. And there's a P.O. Box 94 in Violet, Louisiana, 70092. If you want to drop him a message. I'm hoping that I can remember, and I'm going to write myself a note here to write. And as I speak right now, I'm writing myself a note because I will be the forgot. Write Minister Brown a get well card. All right. So hopefully now I've spoken it, I've written it, and hopefully I'll remember it now and be able to do that. And I invite all of you to join me in writing him a postcard, a get well card, and that address is P.O. Box 94, Violet, Louisiana 70092. And if you forget that, you can give me a call and I'll give you his address. The Peacekeepers of New Orleans, it's 504-723-3976. They have a beef hotline. So if you know someone that's having a dispute out here in the community, give the Peacekeepers a call. They'll come out and help mediate, try to talk it through, talk it out, so that we don't resort to violence. Renaissance One is hiring, and their number is 504-243-1901. And every week I encourage all of our viewers every week that if you know someone that's hiring, some jobs that are open, that you give me a call or send that information to me. And I want to thank Brother Charles that sent me an email, and there's a whole a list of job openings, and I'm just going to read a few of them. One of them is that Costco is hiring. And so Costco, the wholesale place, they are hiring. So you can go on the internet and look up Costco, C-O-S-T-C-O, and you should be able to get some information from Costco so you can give them a call. There's a driver, a courier, position available in Harvey. It's $42,000 a year. There's a handyman, greeter, late stocker. It's a whole slew of jobs that are here, and all of these are located in Harvey. But if you give me a call, and I can give you some more information on how to get in touch with these employers. So if you're looking for a job, give me a call and I'll get you some more information. And if you have information about jobs that are open and available, give me a call so I can get that information and be able to post that information on the air. We have another announcement here, and this announcement is the congregation of St. Paul AME Church, 8540 Coin Street, and that's in the Carrollton area. We'll celebrate Women's Month on Sunday, March the 12th. That'll be next Sunday, 2017, at 3 p.m. The women will celebrate the theme, Women, Past, Present, and Future. The guest speaker will be Judge Tiffany Chase. The public is invited, and the Reverend Fred Fields is the pastor. All right. Let's see if we have any more announcements here. I think we do. Let's see. Rock of Ages Ministries International, Apostle Ronnie Bailey. Their main website, www.ronniebailey.com. I invite you to go to their website and check them out. St. John of Arc Catholic Church, 8321 Birch Street, here in the city of New Orleans. Services Saturdays 4 p.m., Sundays 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. You're reminded that you can call 311 for smoke detectors. They'll give them for free, and they'll actually come and install them for free. And as always, a reminder, please, don't leave children in your car. No matter how short a period of time you think it's going to be, that you're just going to run in the store and run out, don't leave your children in the car. Glory Land Congregational Baptist Church, 4541 America Street, here in the city of New Orleans. The phone number, 504-242-8444. The Reverend Adam Lee is the pastor teacher. Sunday school, 9 a.m. Worship service Sundays, 10:30 a.m. Prayer service Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Bible study Tuesdays, 7:15 p.m. McDonald 35 still has his brick sale that's going on. We continue to pray for our tornado victims, and a reminder that about Renaissance on St. Roch. Now, this is actually an announcement that came from one of our viewers that's out in North Carolina and wanted us to make this announcement. about the 4th annual Sankofa Expo. The topic is Black on Black Love, viewing ourselves and our community as a sacred space. It's a panel discussion including breakout workshops with vendors, musical performances, cultural, reluctant scavenger hunt, puppeteering, and food. It's free to the public. That's going to be April 29th. And it's going to be at the Healing with Care Incorporated, and that's at 214 Broadway Street in Durham, North Carolina, from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So I want to thank our viewer that sent that in about the 4th Annual Sankofa Expo in North Carolina. And as you see, we have viewers from throughout the world, and they're sending their information in, announcements that to be made. So if you're going to be in the North Carolina area on the 29th of April, there's the place to be, and that is the Sankofa Expo at the Healing with Care, 214 Broadway Street, Durham, North Carolina. Religious spiritual study, hold fast that which is good, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Coming out of first book of Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Words of inspiration, we'll get right into it tonight. We're going to have a good bit of our show tonight, quite a bit of time, that we'll be able to go through the scriptures. And again, just a reminder for all of us, the reason why we go through the scriptures, the same reason as everything else that we do on this show, and that's to deliver the message that God is Almighty. And Judah, all right, Genesis chapter 43, verse 8. And Judah said unto Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die. But we and thou, and also our little ones. All right, now this is an example of some wisdom. And before we get into that, I understand we do have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Brother Chris, how are you, brother?
Okay.
Good.
You forgot to mention something that did not thing.
Forgot to mention what, Brother Chris?
Call 311 for evacuation notice, because they want people to start ahead of time so they can get lined up. Call 311 for, in case of a hurricane comes, just call 311 from the hour of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right. All right. Thank you for reminding us about that, Brother Chris.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you know, as Brother Chris stated, it's not too early to register for hurricane evacuation assistance. And you can register here in the city of New Orleans. You can register by calling 311. Thank you, Brother Chris. All right. As we were reading, and this is coming out of chapter 8, you know, sometimes, and I'm going to speak as a parent now, sometimes as parents, we have the idea that we have more knowledge, more common sense than our children. Now, speaking as a parent, and I know I'm biased, most of the time we do, because we have a lifetime that we've been able to gather and obtain knowledge, obtain common sense. We've been on the earth longer than our children. But there are times when our children do have more common sense and more knowledge than us. And it's important, as illustrated in the scriptures that we're reading tonight, it's important that we step back and listen to what our children have to say and listen to it with an open mind. Because if we don't, if our mind is closed up, if we have it in ourselves that, oh, I know everything and a child can't tell me anything, or one of my children can't tell me, then that means that there's a great potential that we will lose out. And this is what's happening tonight. See, tonight when we read about Judah, and Judah is talking to his father Jacob. And sometimes you'll see Jacob's name, you'll be called Israel. So Judah is talking to his daddy, and he's trying to open his daddy's eyes up and let his daddy understand that, look, we've got to this point where push has come to shove. Okay? Our backs are up against the wall. See, and what Judah is talking about, for those of you that have not been following along in reading these scriptures, what Judah is talking about is that there was a famine throughout the land. And I'm not going to go over the whole story. I'm not going to go over everything that we've been reading about, but just the high points so that everybody can kind of have an understanding of what we're reading about and talking about tonight. So there's a famine throughout the land. The Israelites, the Hebrews, living in the land of Canaan, they don't have any food. The folks in Egypt have a lot of food. Matter of fact, Egypt is the only country where they have food. Every place else, they're starving. And everybody from all over the world is coming to Egypt to try to get some food. And Jacob sent 10 of his sons to Egypt to get some food, to buy some food. His sons went there, but his sons were told, look, we're going to give you some food, we're going to sell you some food, but there's some conditions to this. And one of the conditions is that one of y'all 10, is going to have to stay here in Egypt while the other 9 of y'all bring their food back to Canaan. And the reason that one of y'all have to stay here is because we want the other 9 of y'all to go back to Canaan and get that other one of y'all that you left there. So that was the deal. So when Jacob's children, his sons, came back and told him that, Jacob made a decision. And remember last week, we talked about choices. That was the theme last week, choices. And Jacob had a hard choice to make. And the choice that he had to make was whether or not he was going to send all 10 of his sons to Egypt so that the son that was left in Egypt could be redeemed, can be brought home, or if he wasn't going to take that chance. Because Jacob had the idea that if he let his sons go back to Egypt, all 10 of them, that the Egyptians was going to kill all of them, and then Jacob would not have any more sons. So that was a choice that Jacob had to make. And Jacob made his choice. He made his decision. And the decision that Jacob made was, no, I'm not taking that chance. Yes, I know one of my sons is still there in Egypt, because the Egyptians said he had to stay there. But I'm not sending the rest of them there. I'm not going to take that chance. But now, the consequences of that choice, the consequences of that decision, it went beyond that son that was left in Egypt. Because remember, understand something. See, Jacob might have been, in his mind, Jacob might have been saying, well, look, I'd rather sacrifice one son instead of taking a chance with sending all my sons there. And Jacob might have been thinking in his mind, saying, well, look, I'll take that chance, and sooner or later, this famine is going to end. And we will have our own food. We'll be able to grow our own food, and we won't have to worry about going back to Egypt. Won't have to worry about that. Oh, yeah, they might kill the son that was left there, but so be it. I'd rather sacrifice that one than to jeopardize these other 10. And so that was his reasoning. But now look what has happened. Look at the famine did not end. It didn't end. So now the Hebrews are in the same place they were in before the sons went and got the food from Egypt. They're in the same place they were before, that people are starving. People are starving. And this is where we pick the story up tonight. We picked the story up tonight where one of Jacob's sons, the one they called Judah, where Judah said, wait a minute, Pops, this ain't gonna work. You had to make a choice and you made it. You decided that you were not going to send all of us there because you didn't want to take that chance. But look what Judah's saying. Look what Judah said. You see what I talk about? Sometimes you got to sit back now, step back. You might be the parent, but sometimes you might have to step back and listen to what your child's saying. Look what Judah's saying. Hey, Pops, look. This is bigger now than you. This is bigger than your sons. It's more at stake than just you and your sons. There's more in jeopardy now than you and your sons. Pops, if we don't go back to Egypt and get some food, all of us are going to die. Not only your sons, not only you, but all of the Hebrews are going to die from starvation. See, his son is saying, look, Pops, there's more at stake now. Yeah, Daddy, maybe you thought you could ride it out. Maybe you thought you could wait it out until times got better, until the crops started growing again. But Daddy, it didn't work that way. Folks are starving right now, Daddy. We got to do something. And Judah said, look, we got to do something now. And what he said, but we and thou and also our little ones, look, that we may live and not die. See, so Judah is saying, look, this is what time it is. All right? It's time to kind of make another decision. And look what he said. He said, and I will be surety for him. I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him. If I bring him not unto thee and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. All right? Let me blame. Let me bear it. So now we see Judah saying, I'll be the surety. And when you say the surety, okay, when you say the surety, that's speaking about I'll be the one. I'll guarantee. I'll make it good. Right? But we got to do something. And if you worrying about people blaming you for a bad decision, Daddy, don't worry about that. I'll take the blame. I'll take the heat. Hey, that's what we see Judah saying now. All right? And then he said, and let me take the blame, let me bear the blame forever. All right. So now this is a son that's stepping up to the plate. For except we had lingered, surely now we have returned this second time. See, so now look. Judah's trying to tell Jacob something. Judah's telling Jacob, look, if we hadn't played around here, if we hadn't lingered, if we hadn't drug our feet, we could have been up there and gotten food and brought it back. Okay, Daddy, I understand you were trying to see whether or not we can wait and some more crops will grow. But all that while we've been waiting, we could have been there and back. And see, they got a little something else that's going on with Judah. See, because Judah doesn't know whether they have waited too long. You see, because Joseph in Egypt told him, look, you go back there and then you come back here. Go back to Canaan, get your other brother, and then come back to Egypt. And this has been quite a while since that happened. So now Judah's got it in his mind that, look, not only have we eaten all the food that we brought, but if we go back now, maybe we waited too late. They might be killed our brother. And they might kill us also. So all this is going through Judah's mind. But Judah knows one thing for certain, that if he doesn't at least try to go back, then certainly they're going to starve. And certainly the brother that they left is going to be killed. And their father, all right, remember I said sometimes they call him Jacob, sometimes they call him Israel. And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do this. And I'm going to stop right there. Because those words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it must be so now, do this. If it must be so. See, sometimes we will make a decision in our lives. And we think we're heading in the right direction. And there comes a time when we are shown that it's time to go in a different direction. It's time to make a change. And this is This is a blessing. And sometimes we just don't appreciate. And it's a blessing that sometimes we fight against. And the blessing that I'm talking about is the blessing of acceptance, the blessing of submission. And sometimes that blessing of acceptance can be so great that it just bring us peace. Now, in about 6 weeks, we will be celebrating a Christian holiday, a Christian holy day that's called Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to start about 4 weeks before Easter. We're going to start our series. Every year we do a series relating to Easter, leading up to Easter. But in one of those weeks, we talk about acceptance. We talk about submission. And that's when we're talking about Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. See, when Jesus received from his Father the blessing of acceptance, the blessing of submission. See, Scripture tells us that Jesus was in that Garden of Gethsemane and he was agonizing. He was afraid. He didn't want to accept the plan that God had for him. And the Scripture tells us about how he prayed. He prayed so hard that the sweat was just popping off of his head, just like great drops of blood. And he prayed, and then he would pray even harder. And then finally, God Almighty blessed Jesus with the blessing of acceptance. Blessed Jesus to the point where Jesus said, "Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will." See, that's that acceptance. And that's what we're reading about now, tonight, with Jacob. See, Jacob said, no. I don't want to send all my sons out there. I don't want to take that chance. I don't want to jeopardize losing all I don't want it. And he fought against it. And then finally, his son Judah had to help open his eyes. And now we read where Jacob said them words right there, those words of acceptance. If it must be so. If it must be so. In our lives, see, I was talking about Jesus. I was talking about Jacob. But in our lives, in your life, in my life, sometimes it comes to that point where we have to say, if it must be so. It might be things going on, not going the way we planned it, not going the way we might want it to go. But it comes a time when we must acknowledge that it ain't in my hands, it ain't in your hands. If it must be so, it's in Almighty's hands. And that's right, that's it. You see, it keeps coming back to that same message, that there is a being that is almighty. No matter how powerful we might think we are, no matter how smart, how intelligent, how crafty, how whatever we think we are, it's not in our hands. We don't have enough intelligence to run everything. We don't have enough knowledge. We don't have enough wisdom. We don't have enough righteousness. We don't have enough nothing to be able to devise a plan for the entire existence. The entire existence. And I'm not talking about the existence, just the existence here in the city of New Orleans. I'm not talking about the existence in the United States. I'm not even talking about just the existence on the planet Earth. I'm talking about the existence for the whole universe, for the everything that ever was, is now, ever will be. Because listen to what I'm telling you now, there's a power that has a plan for each and everything. That's the message that I've been bringing, that there is a power, there is a being that has a master plan for all time and all creation. And things are going to go exactly the way that power planned it. It's not going to go a little bit to the left. It's not going to go a little bit to the right. It's going to go exactly the way that power planned it. And sometimes in our lives, sometimes in our lives, things might happen that we have to be humbled sometimes. See, sometimes we might get the swollen head, get to thinking that, oh, I'm in control. Oh, no. Oh, no. And God has a way of slowing us down. God has a way of stopping us and saying, oh, wait a minute. You better get some understanding. And let me share something with you. When that happens in your life, because it's happened in my life. And when I realized that's over 37 years ago. When I realized that's when I received the commission to deliver this message. That is not in my hands, not in your hands. It's in God Almighty's hands. And whether you believe that or not, it's not my duty, not my job, not my mission to convince you of that. My mission, my job, is just to deliver that message. But as we're reading tonight, that's the message that's being delivered through these scriptures. Wait, for those of you that may not be familiar with Jacob, hey, let me tell you who Jacob was. Let me just remind you who Jacob was. Okay? Jacob was an extremely rich man. Extremely rich. He was rich. The number one wealth that he had was he had 12 sons. Now, in the culture of the Hebrews, and I talked about this briefly last week, in the culture of the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, the number of male children a man had was a symbol of his status, of his wealth. I don't care if you had 20 daughters, if you didn't have a son, you really didn't have much of anything. And that's the way they felt. And I'm going to share something with you now. I'm not trying to step on any toes. But it's folks today, in the year 2017, that have similar feelings. Now, in some of the Middle Eastern and Eastern cultures, some folks are not ashamed to say that and admit that. in the Western world, there is kind of, folks talk about being politically correct. Talk about being politically correct. You're not going to hear folks say that. But there are some folks in the Western world, in the year 2017, that feel the same way. If you have sons, you're doing good. No matter how many daughters you might have, if you have sons, you're doing good. So Jacob was a wealthy man, and I see that Sister Yvette, thank you for tuning in. Dee, thank you for tuning in. Jason, and I'm looking now some of the comments, some of our Facebook comments, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for just posting a comment. But going back to what I was saying a minute ago, according to that standard, Jacob, Israel, was a wealthy man, 12 sons. If you had 2 or 3, you're doing something. But he had 12. And not only did he have 12 sons, but when you read the scriptures, it said Jacob had so many camels and goats and livestock. He has so many possessions that he was one of the wealthiest men in that area. As a matter of fact, he had so much that him and his brother couldn't even stay in the same area. Because he had too much. They couldn't share the same area. So Jacob was a wealthy man. And it's one of the things, they say power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Sometimes when people have a lot of money, a lot of material goods, they get to thinking that they run things. They get to thinking that I'm the rich man, so what I say goes. And sometimes it looks like they might be right. It looks like they could do no wrong. If they say jump, people they don't question, they just jump. So this is, I'm just trying to get some understanding about Jacob's frame of mind. And look, remember something else. Jacob, this is the same Jacob who was so special. Remember now, he was so special that he was able to wrestle with an angel. You see that? Not only does he have material wealth, not only does he have wealth with all these sons, but now he has this wealth that's been placed upon him by this special religious position, that he is wrestling with angels, and not only wrestling with angels, but remember what he said? The scripture said that Jacob had a vision and he saw angels going up and down on a ladder, going to heaven. So not only was he wealthy, but he was a religious leader. And it said that everywhere that Jacob went, as he traveled around, he built an altar to his God. This is Jacob. So you can see how he get the swollen head. That, look, this is my idea. I know better than anybody else. I'm the smart one. So it's got to be this way. So when his sons came back and told him about the deal that the Egyptians gave him, he questioned them and said, look, that's a bad deal you made. How could you make that kind of deal? And we're not going to go for that and all the rest of that. But now God done brought him down to the time of reckoning, where he has to admit, well, look, our backs are up against the wall. The plan that I had is not working. And now he's got to the point of submission. If it must be so. All right. Let's see. We're getting kind of closer to the end. Let's see if we might speed up a little bit. And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds. You see what I told you about Jacob? Jacob not a fool that he's a smart man. Jacob knows they done messed up. He knows that. He knows that they should have been back to Egypt a long time ago. He knows that. But what Jacob said, well, look, I know that man in Egypt is mad. I know that. And I know he has one of my sons there. And if he hasn't killed my son already, now my other sons are going back there. And if that man is mad, he might kill all of them. But my back is up against the wall. My people are starving here. They're dying. I got to do something. My son Judah has showed me the light. He talked some sense into me. I got to send him back there. That's the only chance we have. But look. I got an idea. Let's butter him up. All right? Let's butter him up. Let's take and give him some presents. Let's get him in a good mood. You know, if he already killed my son that we left, let's try to get him in a good mood so he don't kill these other ones. Let's get him in a good mood. Now, how can we get him in a good mood? Well, let's give him some presents. Okay, let's go there and just give him some presents. You know, the presents, the best fruit. You know, here we have some pomegranates. Maybe they don't have pomegranates in Egypt. Let's bring him some of these pomegranates, some of this good fruit. What else we have that's good? Whoa, look at there's that word, the balm. Come on now. Really got to get some understanding on this. Look what it said. Carry down a man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. Now with all that stuff that he talked about carrying down there, that one thing that he mentioned there, a little balm. You see, remember, all the time you hear me say, the scripture writer didn't just put extra words in there just to put them in there. See, God inspired that scripture writer to put these words in there for a reason. And there's that little one word that he put up in there. See, all the other stuff he's talking about is stuff that you eat. Some nuts, some almonds, some honey. But he puts in there that word, that balm. Balm. B-A-L-M. Balm. What is balm? Balm is something that you use to heal the soul. That's what balm is. Something that you use to heal a soul. See, Israel, Jacob, he's got in his mind that, look, this man is probably mad. So we need something that's going to heal that. Something that's going to calm him down. Some balm. See, we read sometimes things in the scriptures and we see those words, we might be looking at them literally. And there may be some other meaning. And that balm, you know, understand something. Sometimes A balm can be words. It doesn't always have to be something that you rub on or something that you spray it on. A balm can be words. Sometimes you might have an argument with your spouse, or have an argument with your child, or have an argument with your co-workers. And you can come in with some words and heal the situation. Some words to straighten things out. What's that? That's Johnny Taylor. I'm talking to some of y'all now. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I said, let's straighten it out. Sometimes you could have some disputes going on, and you could use that balm, just some healing words. Just like the peacekeepers that we talk about every week on the show. You can use that balm, some words, to heal things. Okay, we're coming to the close, and this is a great place to close the show. It might be sometimes in our lives that there be situations that we find ourselves in that we might need. It might be our obligation. It might be on us to bring that balm. It might be some situation that we find ourselves in that instead of continuing to aggravate the situation, instead of continuing to inflame things, it might be our duty to provide that balm. And yes, let me tell you something. Sometimes, we might have to step back. We might have to take low. Sometimes we might have to turn the other cheek. And that turning that other cheek, that taking low, might be just the balm that's needed to cure the situation. And I know that sometimes pride can get in our way. But just like Jacob, just like Israel overcame his pride, my prayer is that if you find yourself in that situation, that God blesses you with the ability to step back. And no matter whatever it is that God has in store for you in this upcoming week, it's my prayer as always that God blesses you and yours with peace.